Malki Kawa, which is the head of first round management, decides to call me 2 hours before the event. And anybody that's ever dealt with him in their life, including his fighters that still signed to him, they all know this guy's a bully. Everybody knows that the guy's a bully. And I'm like, this guy knowingly is going to put an exclusively signed contract to fight right now. Like, that's what he's telling me. And it's wild that he thinks he can push somebody around like that. So basically, when he started threatening that he was going to jump me and all this stuff, is when I said, I will slap you worse than Ali did. Because I don't know if you know, Khabib's manager slapped him twice. And you know what? I'll tell you this. If his dumbass manager would have just said, look, man, the guy's starving. Can you give him an advance? What the fuck? Yeah. Do you want to know why this whole thing started 3 years ago?
I mean, yeah, for sure.
I was sponsored by a luxury car rental company. This person in first round tried to message the sponsor and get the same deal for first round management. He was not successful because the owner wanted to sponsor Goat Shed exclusively. Then Malki himself called, and this just evolved to something crazy. That's the day one problem where it all started from, because I didn't give him a Lambo. And of course, I said, you can go fuck yourself. You don't get a fucking Lambo. How about that?
All right, so today I'm joined by the president of Karate Combat, Asim Zaidi, also known as President Awesome. Welcome, man. How are you?
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure to be here for sure.
So, I mean, we can just get right into it. There's some beef going on with Mike Perry's promotion right now and his management and stuff like that.
Yeah, so just to give the rundown, I want to start off by saying Mike Perry and I have a very close relationship. You know, he was living in Miami for some time, so we bonded together, and I really support him to a crazy degree because I just find him to be a great role model in many ways to athletes. You know, somebody that started from nothing and really made it big, and not only made it big, but I admire his family life. You know, he's a loving husband. He has children now. Now he's an entrepreneur as well. So there's a lot about Mike that I love. So there's nothing wrong between him and I. It's the people that are behind dirty boxing, you know. He's the face, but he's not necessarily making the decisions that that were, not moral or unethical, you know.
As far as
Um
poaching a fighter goes, is that fair
yeah,
to say?
exactly. So yeah, that's very fair to say, right? So basically what happened was we have an exclusively signed fighter. Um and what stinks is this is a guy I was very hesitant to sign. And the fighter's coach really vouched for him. He's like, look, man, this guy's turning a new leaf, he's more mature. I really want him to work with you. And it's hard because although the guy was a phenomenal kickboxer, he's, I believe, like 4-5 as an MMA fighter, or 5-5, so something like that. And has a big losing streak right now, being finished in every fight. And he's 35 years old. So I'm like, dude, like, what am I gonna do? And he's like, look, MMA wasn't for him. Karate combat's for him. He's a phenomenal striker, and he is. He's a really phenomenal striker. So I said, you know what? At 35 years old, he looks in shape still. I'm like, let's do it. I mean, let's make it happen. So we signed him to a contract, and because I have a very good relationship with his coach, it was a very good contract. Starting off at 5K, 5K. So he's set to make at the very least like 50 grand to 60 grand in 1 year, depending on his performance, right?
I saw it. And how
So
long ago was that?
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Okay. Because they're
Yeah,
saying he was sitting on the shelf.
exactly. Of
Okay.
course. They're saying he's shelved. It was 3 weeks ago. I posted on my Twitter the signed contract and date, just so there's no argument there, right? So, anyways, we signed him 3 weeks ago. Again, I was really twisted my arm to sign this guy, but I did it. And I said, you know what? He's phenomenal striker. Put him against the top 5 guy in our division, and let's get this division moving, and let's see where he's at to see his real potential. So we have an important fight we're booking in February for him, and starting to set up, contracts and or promotion for it and all that stuff. February's in Denver, I believe. So it's an important card for us, Anyways, so a week before Dirty Boxing, we find out he's fighting for Dirty Boxing. And right away we tell the management, Ruby Management, I believe is the name. We
Yeah,
tell the
Danny
management, like,
Rubenstein or something.
yes, he's the head of this. He didn't know any of this was going on. So it's an
How did you
agent.
find out that it was even happening?
So the agent asked us if this can happen.
Okay.
And we said, And we said, hey, man, like you guys begged us for an exclusive contract. We gave you an amazing contract. He's set to fight in February.
And now
We
we're
have
getting this kind of deal.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
come on, guys. We can't do this because this is actually someone that we're investing good money into and we want to push and we want to see what he can do. So the guy was very upset, and to be honest, that agent said some very disrespectful things that Daniel, the head of the management apologized for, but some rude things to my matchmaker. But we just said, look, man, it just can't happen. We're taking care of this guy's about to make 10K in his debut fight. You're talking about good money here. You know what I mean? This isn't chump change. And he's getting paid $1,000, according to Mike Perry and the owner of Dirty Boxing, who I spoke to. He's getting paid $1,000 for them. So it's like, guys, you're potentially ruining a relationship where he's going to make between 50 to 60 grand in a year for $1,000. Like, let's just not do this, Now, as the fight's getting closer, they kept it very quiet because they wanted to pretend that they weren't going to do it. And then I see the weigh-in video the day before. And I'm
So
like,
you were
there's
under the
no way.
impression that like it was not going to happen and you saw the
Yeah.
weigh-in video. Okay.
Yeah. I
Okay.
was under the impression like, oh, we're good. It makes logical sense to anyone on the planet. Like this, of course, it makes sense. Daniel Rubenstein, said that he would speak to the agent, that this wasn't professional, that he'll make sure that he takes care of it. So, anyways, I see the weigh-in video. I'm absolutely shocked, right? So right away, I reach out to the management. I'm like, yo, what's going on here? And Daniel was in China for the UFC. So he was saying, oh, I have no idea what's going on down there. That was his excuse. Uh, so right away, I called the promotion. I messaged the owner of Dirty Boxing, which is it's not Malki Kawa, it's Primo Kawa. It's like Malki's cousin. The head of first round management, the cousin, okay, is the owner of Dirty Boxing. So I hit him up and I said, hey, man, really nicely. I haven't posted the screenshot because I don't know if that's disrespectful if he doesn't want that. But just to tell you what the screenshot is, because I'm thinking about posting it, is I was like, hey, man, I know this is very awkward. We have a exclusively signed fighter that's fighting in your promotion. I'd love to find a solution for you guys because I can't let this fight happen. And I'd love to grab coffee with you because I know you're living in Miami. And he said, no problem. The owner said, no problem, man. Like, I'm going to get to the bottom of this right away. We'll see what's going on and we'll figure this out. So the next day he calls me up with Perry on the phone and they're saying that the athlete claimed that I gave permission for it. So essentially they're saying the athlete lied, which is possible, Like, I'm not going to say, I don't know. I
I
really
mean,
don't
yeah.
know what that. Yeah. Yeah. Like, honestly, it's such a unimportant fight to them. Like it was definitely the highest level striker they had, besides Joel. But it was such an important, I shouldn't say unimportant event. It was not even televised. So for them, they probably couldn't really care to lie to any degree. So I do believe them that maybe the fighter was not telling the truth, but they know that the guy had an exclusive contract with us and they didn't check with us. They knew this the whole time, and then I'm telling him like, hey, man, I can't let the fight happening, but I don't want to let you hang out to dry. So I will offer replacements. I have multiple replacements here that I can send to you and you guys can use. And that's hopefully our future star. So if you could just, allow him to continue his trajectory to fight for us in February. They
Were the
were
guys that
very
you're going to
polite.
offer from like Karate Combat or from your gym or something like that?
Either one.
Okay.
Like either, an older roster fighter that maybe hasn't fought was an option. And then I already had two fighters in my gym that accepted. And they said, hey, we'll step up. So I had many options, and Karate Combat has a roster of like 280 fighters. So I could just run through a list and see what makes sense for somebody that's not scheduled for a while, that's maybe, not active that we could help out. I'd be down for that, because I'm not trying to make enemies, and I love Perry. Like I told you, we have a good relationship. So, anyways, they were very understanding and they're very polite. They're very sad and really tried their best to make the fight continue, and they said, look, we'll get back to you. 2 hours before
So
the event.
they didn't really want you to do a replacement.
No, no,
They
no, no.
wanted the original fight still.
They wanted the original fight still. And
Okay.
the reason is, so this guy Anvar, which is our fighter, he has, I think he's like 130 wins, 15 losses in kickboxing. Like he has a phenomenal record in kickboxing. It's just that he's older now and he tried MMA and it didn't work. So he kind of lost his following a little bit. but he's great. He's a great striker. So they don't want to lose that fight also because that is the second highest level fighter on that card beside Joel,
For
without a doubt.
entertainment. And he went viral, right? So fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah,
enough to him,
yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. And it was the
Yeah.
highest level fight because the opponent was good too, and he knocked out the opponent. So um it was phenomenal. And he pulled off what we thought he could do in a striking match. He was great.
Yeah,
He
you probably
really
wish he was
was.
under your lights, but yeah.
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 Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, Malki Kawa, which is the head of first round management, decides to call me 2 hours before the event. And, you know, just to let you know what he's like, anybody that's ever dealt with him in their life, including his fighters that still signed to him, they all know this guy's a bully. There's just this is a thing. Everybody knows that the guy's a bully. And to give you background, 3 years ago, when I was a small time coach with zero credibility, zero UFC fighters in a 3,000 square foot garage gym, he really tried to bully me. He called me a 32-minute conversation, something like that. A 32-minute conversation, just absolutely bullying me, intimidating me, saying he's going to put me out of business, saying he's going to open up a gym next to mine, put me out of business, saying he was going to jump me with his fighters when he sees me,
Why?
saying, I'll tell you why in a second. And then he was saying he was going to blacklist me across Florida to not allow any promotions to fight. He was going to pay them so that I can't fight for them. And he said, "Oh, your gym's full of the Cubans, right? I'll pay them 500 a month and they'll all leave you." What's crazy is I was so scared of getting blacklisted and that rumor started spreading that I lost half of my roster at the time. And they all went to Kill Cliff, you know, and that really hurt me as a small gym. Obviously, now I've recovered and I'm in a strong position where I can't be bullied anymore, you know? So if you really do, you want to know that why this whole thing started 3 years ago?
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Okay, because this is going to be a long story. I'm going to make this as fast as possible, give you the big
Go ahead.
points. Okay, somebody from first round management, I have to look up his name. He works under Malki Kawa. Called me up. I was sponsored by a luxury car rental company. So I could get free Lambos, free Rolls Royces, free McLarens, all that stuff. This person in first round tried to message the sponsor and get the same deal for first round management. He was not successful because the owner wanted to sponsor Goat Shed exclusively, you know. And he wanted to sponsor Goat Shed exclusively because we were the underdogs. We were the small gym that just opened, and he wanted to help us rather than help the big management.
It was more
So
a relationship that you had.
yeah, there was a
Yeah.
relationship there. So my sponsor called me up and he said, "Look, if you want to give these guys a car, I'll give it to them for free. But what do you want me to do?" I said, "Okay, no problem. Let me call them up." So I called him up and actually, sorry, excuse me. The guy called me, the guy from first round management called me and he asked me for the car. He said, "Look, your sponsor told us this. Can we get this car?" And I said, "Look, send a superstar to my gym. I'm a small gym. I only have like at the time, like maybe two pros, like five amateurs and two pros." I said, "Send like a Jorge Masvidal to the gym. Ask him to give a 10-minute speech just to like fire up my guys. They're young, hungry amateurs and take the Lambo for the weekend. It's 2,000 a day. You guys get it for free. It's a $6,000 value. You guys just come for 10 minutes and just motivate these young fighters." He said, "Nah, I can't do that, man." I said, "Okay, if it's not Masvidal, just like anybody like cool that would motivate young fighters." "Nah, you need to make this happen. If you don't make it happen, again, this guy threatens, he's gonna blacklist me, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that, da, 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 da." That's where it all started from. That's the day one problem where it all started from because I didn't give him a Lambo. And of course, I said, "You can go fuck yourself. You don't get a fucking Lambo. How about that?" So
Yeah.
like I was thick about it.
And then
So
he hit you with, all those threats after that. Okay.
then Malky himself called, and this just evolved to something crazy. He started making all these accusations and all these different things, and he needs to feel like the big dog. He has a bully mentality. Just read all his tweets, and you'll see that he has that. That's his brand. He's just a bully. He's a mean person. He's just a mean dude. You know, the things he's saying about me in my personal life right now, like, it's really weird. Like, it's just like, I don't get what's wrong with this guy. You know. So, anyways, finally, 3 years later, I'm not a small town coach anymore. I have credibility. I'm running the top five league in the world, top five highest paid, most viewed league in the world, right? Because if you want to make money as a combat sports athlete, you must go to UFC, PFL, one, us, or BKFC. Those are your five options if you want to make real money in the sport. Like if you want to make
And
a living.
one seems to be fading out.
There's a lot there that we can talk about,
Yeah,
but I'll give
maybe
them the
another
respect because,
time, but yeah,
yeah, because I mentioned them because they are paying some guys absurd amount of money, right?
they do.
So
They're select few.
yeah, so they're a powerhouse. Like I'll give them that. They are. So those are the top 5 leagues. That being said, I have value now. I'm confident in myself, and I can finally stand up for myself. So when he called me to bully me, and if you don't let this fight happen, you don't know what I can do to you. Wait till I see you in person. I know your little crew. I'll bring my crew. We'll jump you. We'll do this. He starts going ham on me, you know, and I'm like, this guy knowingly is gonna put an exclusively signed contract to fight right now. Like that's what he's telling me. And it's wild that he thinks he can push somebody around like that. So basically, when he started threatening that he was gonna jump me and all this stuff, is when I said, I will slap you worse than Ali did. Because I don't know if you know, Khabib's manager slapped him twice.
I
He was
didn't know
arrested
that.
once. Yeah, he slapped him at the UFC and was arrested. You know?
Okay.
Uh so and this has happened multiple people have slapped him in events, which is pretty crazy as a grown man that things get so bad that people are fighting with this guy, right? Like that
Yeah,
physically,
true.
right? It's pretty wild because as a grown man, I can't imagine myself.
And kind of the
Get,
boss of the company usually doesn't be getting in
exactly.
slap
So
fights and shit like that.
that's what I'm saying. So for this guy to be threatening to jump people and stuff, and people now are retaliating, it says something. Masvidal sued this guy too. And there was articles all over the place. I don't know if you remember that. Masvidal
I
sued first
noticed,
round
yeah, he
management.
left after the loss to Colby.
Yeah, I'm not sure when it was, but I know he slapped them with a lawsuit. And the talk around was that he was getting screwed out of money, and there was some weird shit happening there that a lot of money was being hidden from him and whatever. So the lawsuit was settled, and he was released, and whatever else happened behind the scenes happened behind the scenes. But the whole point is, man, this guy has a reputation for bullying and screwing a lot of people over. And I'm just tired of it. So, I'm proud I stood up for myself. Obviously, they're going to go off and try to destroy me on Twitter and destroy me everywhere. And I'm on the right side of the fence. I did everything legally, ethically. I have the screenshots where I was absurdly polite, where I offered solutions. So I'm happy with where I am. And now my new mission in combat sports that I didn't know I ever had to do was to clean up the sport because the combat sports business is so dirty. And again, I've been saying this, all the fans out there, they need to know this. They need to hear this. If there's one thing to post on this interview, it's this. All the fans need to know, I know you love watching fighters fight and you don't want to know about the politics, but it's important to know what these fighters are going through behind the scenes because we have to protect them. As a coach, I was a fighter in the past. I went through a lot of stuff and I failed in my dreams. And now I'm trying to provide value and make sure nobody else fails. As a coach, I take care of my athletes. I was with them on the day-to-day basis to see the sacrifices they make. And I bring that mentality into presidency as a combat sports president. I want to do good by the sport. And I need to clean up this sport. I need the support of the fans to understand we need to make the fighters' lives better because it's not good. There's managements and promotions out there that are exploiting and taking advantage of fighters. No logical human in the world would have fought for $1,000 versus 50,000 in a year. They bullied this guy, or I don't know what they did. I'm not gonna say they bullied him. They somehow convinced this poor fighter to fight for $1,000 today instead of holding back and setting up a career
10x
for himself.
instead of
Like
10x a few months down the line,
that's what I'm saying. Like
or at least 5x, right?
he's okay. Look. I told you the top 5 organizations on the planet for paying, right, and for viewership. Out of those top 5, who's going to sign a 35-year-old that's 5-5, coming off a 2 or 3 fight losing streak, all being finished in the first round for 5-5?
Well, Karate Combat is one of the ones right now. Like you signed a Sam Alvey, no offense to him,
Yep,
but
of
nobody
course,
else was
of
really
course.
willing to sign him, right? So I'll give you that.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're providing some major opportunities here. Thank God we have the finances to take care of fighters and treat them properly. So nobody's going to offer this striker that type of money anymore. You know what I mean? He's
Couple
not going
things.
to
Can I
want.
say a couple
Yeah,
things real quick? I
yeah,
just wanted to say that because it's wrapping up, I want to add to your point, which is that, when you see this lawsuit coming out, and this isn't against the UFC at all, but this is just the sad state of what fighters go through at the end of their career. The lawsuit and stuff. When you read some of those testimonies, Shane Carwin and stuff, I hate seeing the fighters who I looked up to when I was a lot younger, like without any aura anymore, without any money to even a Nick Diaz, right? It's very sad because he's such a legend and he made such an impact on my life. For him to not really have much to his name is sad. So, and then with Masvidal too, I want to point out because you're talking about the lawsuit and stuff. In my opinion, I feel like if I were to assume, probably a misuse of funds because you're talking about the jets and all the promotional stuff. I think that all in the back end came out of Masvidal's pocket from his management, I think. So I think that's why he was upset. That's just my assumption though, but it's what it looked like from afar was like a misuse of his funds. And then he didn't have very much, right? So I don't like seeing fighters getting taken advantage of, whether they're not getting much or whether their management also takes a lot from them on both ends. So I'm with you on that. I want to see the best for the fighters, and there's not very many people who are really, I think, speaking about it. I'm pretty vocal about it though, like I just said.
There's not too many people speaking about it. It's getting frustrating because look, like I told you, I'm bringing my coaching mentality and I coach with my heart. I don't need, especially now, I don't need to coach anymore at all. In fact, it causes so much stress because I'm taking 10 flights a month, cornering people around the world and juggling coaching and being karate combat president. So coaching is a lot of sacrifice in my own life now, but I always coach from my heart. You don't understand. Nobody's gonna understand because they're just hearing the words. They don't know what my wife and I did on a day-to-day basis. We housed these guys. We had the 15, 20 fighters living in the gym. We fed them 3 meals a day, 5 days a week. We paid for attorney fees to protect them from corrupt organizations. We paid for visas so people could stay in this country. We had people that learned English in the gym and made a life for themselves first in America in our gym, and now has built a life for themselves. Like this fighter from Pakistan, for instance, came from the mountains of Pakistan, came to America, lived inside the gym, got his English clean over here in the States, and now he's making enough money where he bought his mother a home. He bought his family a home. He has a car. He has an apartment now in Miami. He's made a life for himself. Like, we've done so many amazing things for so many athletes, and it's from our hearts. Like, nobody gets it. It's from, I swear to God, that I'm willing to bet my life that in the history of combat sports, the, there wouldn't be, I have to be in the top 5 in history in combat sports of somebody that's invested more of their funds into fighters. Like, like it has to be like 95% of my profits. Like all of my profits. I had just enough money to eat. My wife and I even lived in the gym at one point. You know what I mean? There was a time when we had to move back to my parents' house, like because we were investing so much into the fighters. So it's like, I love these guys and I want to bring that mentality into presidency, and I'm trying to do things the right way, and it's hard. It's very hard to do things the right way because everyone's trying to destroy you, man. Everyone, whether it's one championship, whereas other promotions like this trying to disrespect your exclusive contracts, everyone wants to destroy you and stop you, and it really sucks because I the more promotions in the world, I need to make this clear because I'm going hard on one championship, right? And I'm trying not to go hard on dirty boxing. I'm trying to go hard on Malki Kawa and the head of how they're running the business. But I love Mike Perry. I don't want to go hard on dirty
Well, it seems like
boxing,
Mike Perry is like the Logan Paul of Prime. He's
There you
just an
go.
investor, but he doesn't really, yeah, so he's the face of it because he's got some money to put behind it, but it doesn't seem like he really pulls a lot of the strings.
And from my understanding, he didn't put the money. He's the face.
Okay.
What, but he's a wonderful man. I don't want to talk bad about dirty boxing. This I need to make very clear. This is a big point. I don't want one championship to blow up and go out of business. I don't want dirty boxing to blow up and go out of business. I don't want anyone to go out of business. As a coach, the more promotions there are in the world, the more opportunities for fighters. That's great. Let there be, right now, there are more world-class athletes than world-class promotions. So what does that do? There's a lot of undiscovered talent out there that potential world champions are starving. I could go right now to Dagestan and Russia and find hundreds of killers that are undiscovered, right?
Right.
If there were more promotions, they wouldn't be undiscovered and they could make a living in this sport. So I don't want that. I just want things to be done ethically, morally, legally. That's it. Let's do good business. Let's everyone do good business. How about that? Let's do good
Yeah,
by
I
each
think
other.
you
Why
guys are
is
peers, right? You guys, if you get
Yeah,
along, it works better for everybody.
bro,
There's more business to get done, I think.
100%. And that's why when I started as presidency, this presidency, I talked to the owners and the ones that hired me, and I said, guys, I want to make alliances immediately with the UFC. I coach there. I coach a lot of UFC fighters, and I coach a lot of MMA fighters. I want to start making friends with certain people. So right away, reached out to the UFC. We gave them the content for free on UFC Fight Pass. Like, we didn't even negotiate a contract. We're like, just take it. Like, we just want to have a good relationship with you guys and show our, our friendship. Same thing, BKFC. Talk to the owner of BKFC, Dave Feldman. Wonderful dude. Some of his fighters fight for us and vice versa. If he wants to use some of our fighters, we can talk about that too. So I have a meeting with him actually in a couple weeks. I want to make friends. But when a guy like won championship, when I'm hearing that he pulled two of my co-main events now, and everybody in Thailand is telling me he's trying to destroy me. I lose my venue 2 days before. My show's going to be canceled. You're trying to destroy my business. Like, literally, you're calling my friends that are signed to you, talking shit about me, and they call me right away laughing.
He
Because
doesn't
they're
want
my boys.
competition, it seems, based off what
Yeah,
you're
man.
telling me.
That's exactly, and the way he's treating the fighters is fucking terrible. Dude, honestly, I'm too much of a pushover. Like, for example, right now, what the fighter did to us with dirty boxing is illegal, right? Like, he shouldn't have done that. And what his management did is too. I am so torn on what to do right now.
That was what
Like,
I'm planning on asking you.
yeah, like, I am so torn on what to do. Like, do I want to go to litigation with dirty boxing? I love Mike Perry and all this stuff. Like, he's already taking heat for no reason. I don't think so. No, I don't think I don't want to do that. They just threw their first show. My fighters were the guest of honor too in his show. Like, they put my fighter, his face on a big screen and introduced him next to Mike Perry. Like, why am I going to hurt dirty boxing? Like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Am I going to go to litigation with the fighter that has barely any money that was coerced into competing for $1,000? Like, no. Like, why would I do that? If I'm vouching fighters first, how the hell am I going to go to litigation with this fighter?
Well, do you
Am I
do you
going to
give him
go?
another fight? That's another question.
Oh, man, you don't understand. The whole
Does he
day
still
I'm
get a fight in
torn.
February?
The whole day I'm torn about this, man. The whole day, and what's crazy is the more I think about it, I'm like, okay, if this guy was my fighter, we would have never fought. We would have never fought. And you know what? I'll tell you this: if his dumbass manager would have just said, "Look, man, the guy's starving. Can you give him an advance?" What the fuck? Yeah. Like, what's wrong
Okay.
with you?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? We did that for Y2K Fairtex. Y2K was in such a bad scenario. He was our co-main event. He was an important fighter to us. I don't want to do that for everybody because that's not right to me either. If you get injured, now what? You know what I mean? So, like, I don't want to do that. But I've been pressured in the past. I've done it in the past many times. We did it in Bangkok right now. You know what I mean? So, with actually the majority of the card. So it's like, I mean, no problem, man. Like, if you're struggling like that and you're such an important fighter to us and you're exclusive, okay, I'll extend my hand. But why do this? Why? It's just, so I'm torn, man. I don't know
But if
what's
you
going to
don't do
happen.
anything, it seems do you have that fear probably? Because the devil's advocate would be that you're gonna continue to get walked on if you don't do anything.
Dude,
Like
you're
somebody
so
else is
right.
gonna do it again.
There's so many bad things. Like, this may create a precedent where people are going to disrespect us. So now I got to think of what to do. Like, maybe do I look, I'm a pushover, like, for fighters. People make
I hear
stupid
you.
decisions, and especially a lot of fighters are misguided. So whatever. So look, do I send them a letter and say, look, guys, we're not going to pursue this, obviously, but now we have to reconsider plans for you in February, you know? And maybe I send a letter to all other fighters under exclusive contracts and say, hey, guys, you may have noticed this. Please respect our contracts because in the future, we may have to push forward. So this is just like a little, warning. Just let's all respect each other. We'll take great care of you and you take great care of us. Do I do that? I have no idea. I don't know
Yeah, that's
what
a
to
good
do.
idea though.
I think that's the way to do it, man. I think that's the way to do it. Bro, I'm trying to be the good guy, and there's not many good guys in this sport. I'm telling you, there's not many good guys. I promise you. I'm one of the few, man, and it sucks because now I'm being walked over, right? And I can't allow that. So I have to stand up for myself. So I'll find a good solution that I think most will be happy with. And always I vouch to be that moral guy. You will not catch me screwing over a fighter in a lie. You won't catch me hurting people. Like, I want to do right by fighters. Number one, everybody. I don't know about other managements or whatever, but fighters, I want to do right by fighters.
Got you. And okay, so the last one I got for you since we're pretty much out of time. I appreciate the extra time, by the way.
Of
Um,
course, of course.
I've interviewed this guest, so I wanted to bring it up to you. Lorenz Larkin is now a free agent. He left the PFL. So, are you familiar with his work? He's pretty
Yes,
exciting.
yes. Yes, very exciting
Knockout
guy.
artist.
Did you send me his profile earlier or no?
I didn't, no, but maybe
Okay,
somebody else
somebody
sent
sent
you
me.
it. I
Yeah,
made a
right
post.
when
Maybe they sent it
yeah,
to you.
right when no, but right when he was released, I got a text from, I don't want to say the wrong name, but it might have been like MMA Junkie, MMA Fighting, somebody
Okay.
big in combat sports media messaged me right away and was like, "Hey man, this guy's released. What do you think? That would be a great signing." So, I mean, hey, I would love to speak to him. I know, I don't know his age and performance and how long he wants to fight more for. Everything has to make sense, but I mean, he's a phenomenal fighter. I would love to talk to him and find out what his plans are, how much longer he has, how much more fuel he has in the tank, and kind of go from there. Right now on our roster, if you notice Karate Combat, we've been signing much younger talent, you know, younger upcoming talent, amazing strikers with huge striking backgrounds. I mean, the level of the roster has just changed. And now you see like everybody that's ranked in the top 5 is losing now to the new rostered guys, because the level is just way different. So I have to really see like, if it makes sense, for an older, more established fighter to bring him in. We'll find out.
Right. My suggestion, if you want to consider it at all, is maybe give him like a one-off fight or something like that. I think he'll give you guys a good knockout. That's my point.
Okay.
Get him in there, let him
Man,
get you a good knockout, and then see what happens. But maybe nothing too exclusive. A lot of fans want to see him
yeah.
back in the UFC too, so he could end up back in the UFC. He's 172, a 170 pounder. I don't know what your division looks like there.
Yeah. Well, we could put him with like Rafael Alves. We could put him with, I mean,
That's a good
Bulka is
one,
going to be
right?
fighting. Yeah.
I like
We're going to have
Raphael.
Bulka. Rafael Alves would probably be a fun one.
Yeah.
Everyone's scared to fight that guy, man.
No, he's a
After what he
beast.
did,
Yeah,
bro.
exactly.
Oh my God. Everyone's scared to fight that guy. So it's tough, because the prior administration before me, the former Karate Combat president, he signed like he was really focused on point fighters. So he was signing a lot of point fighters that never got punched in the face. And now I'm focused on signing the highest level strikers on the planet, regardless of their striking background, any style. So a lot of those older point fighters don't want to fight guys like Rafael Alves or Lorenz Larkin. Like they're not
No,
gonna, you
exactly.
know. So it's a different era in karate combat, but I think everyone's loving it. I think
For
everyone's
sure.
loving it.
No, I like it. I like what you're doing.
Yeah.
So keep it up. And yeah, those events are sick for sure. They got the same feel as like a power slap where all the celebrities come
Yeah.
out. At least all the
Yes,
MMA
sir.
celebrities.
Yes, sir. And like just hats off to Mike Perry with Dirty Boxing. He brought in John Jones. He brought in some wonderful names. Like a lot of superstars were there supporting. I think Ben Rothwell as well.
Yeah, I
Like,
saw him.
yeah. So like that was a really cool, intimate first event. I know some people are just trying to roast him, but that was an intimate first private event. It was cool, and he did a good job with that too. So hats off to Mike Perry.
For sure. All right, man. Well, hey, thank you for the extra time again, and good luck with everything. Hopefully, people don't take this as a new precedent, and hopefully, find a decent solution where like there's a middle ground somewhere.
How'd you like the solution I posed?
I like it. I think that that sounds fair. By letting people
Yeah.
know, like, hey, don't do this again, or you might even be cut. Right? You won't get another
Yeah.
fight. But
There you go.
and then I don't know, maybe even give this guy one shot, one other shot, but maybe not. But like,
That's the hard part, right? I got to think about
in
that,
my
but
mind too, it's like, because I'm kind of like you, a pushover. Sometimes I'm like, let me overdo it as far as like being good on this end. And if you fuck me over again after really like overdoing it, then you stepped on the wrong guy's toes this time. The
I
fact if
think
you were
that's
to give him
fair.
another fight and then someone's still gonna step on you, it's like, come on, I did everything I could and more.
Bro, you don't understand. One thing is, and this is crazy, like when I was a coach coming up, a lot of guys were after me and roasting me and troll. And a lot of those guys work at Karate Combat now. And a lot of those fighters fight for Karate Combat. And some of those fighters train with me and they're my students. So
So you don't
I'm
hold
like a
any ill will.
no, man. Like, why? Like, I'm so stressed with so many real problems, like trying to battle Chatri in one championship and not be destroyed in Bangkok. Like, why am I going to care about a guy that trolled me on the internet and then now needs an opportunity with Karate Combat? Like, he said sorry, we can work together. He respects me now. I've proven myself to him, and now he respects me. So times have changed, and so I have no ill will, dude. Even if this guy Malki Kawa, who has just been such a bully, if he came back and called me and was like, you know what, man, like I'm done with this. Like, can we stop? Can we get coffee? Dude, I don't give a shit. Yeah. No fucking problem, dude. I'll go to Dirty Boxing. I'll post about it. I'll put it on my story. I'll promote it. I don't really care. But like, let's just do everything right by each other. That's all.
No, I hear you. Although, the beef seems to be getting you guys more publicity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oddly enough.
And
But yeah,
oddly
better
enough,
to
like,
birds of a feather flock together, right?
yeah, yeah, like the
Yeah.
BKF, sorry, the Dirty Boxing event kind of became about this drama,
Right.
ironically.
So you're
So
kind of
it's
boosting his event. I'm sure you're getting a little boost on your numbers.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I got a
ironically.
lot of Twitter followers,
Yeah.
A lot of Twitter support.
Right,
Yeah.
right. All right, man. Well, hey, I appreciate the time again. Good luck with everything and take care, man.
Thank you, man. See you.